This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. There are growing calls tonight for Manitobans to mask up in public again. This comes as a surge in respiratory viruses strain Winnipeg's Children's Hospital. More on that in a moment, but first, Emily Brass with more on what some Manitobans think of another mask mandate.
Mildred Muniz isn't thrilled about putting on a mask again, but she's willing to do it to protect her son.
Sometimes I forgot and I don't like it. But safe, yeah, it is safe.
No one we spoke to enjoys wearing a mask, but they are considering putting them on again as hospitals see a spike in kids with respiratory illnesses.
Hospitals are struggling right now, so we need it. I think we need to be wearing masks.
I am quite tense, like if kids are getting suffer from these things, like it's hard for every parent.
We don't just think about ourselves, we think about others as well.
Dr. Joss Reimer with the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority says the Children's Hospital is struggling to keep up. She compared wearing a mask to putting on your snow tires for the winter. She says it might be inconvenient, but that little precaution can save lives.
Ontario's top doctor today strongly recommended masks in indoor public spaces as hospitals there are overrun. But Manitoba's premier just recommended wearing one when you're sick.
We are not looking at that in terms of a mask mandate right now. We are obviously saying if you are sick, like I did today, where I'm coming off of a cold, I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling great, but just out of an abundance of caution, I wore my mask today, and I would just encourage others to do the same.
The West End Cultural Centre never got rid of its mask mandate. The nonprofit says the rule helps protect musicians on tour whose careers take a hit every time someone gets sick. The mask rule, seeing it as part of the price of admission. Emily Brass, CBC News, Winnipeg.
As for the city's school divisions, they say they'll be following the province's lead. They are keeping an eye on absenteeism, though, but have no plans at this point to reintroduce a mask mandate. Now, as Emily mentioned, the Children's Hospital is under strain. The emergency department saw more patients yesterday than it has on any other day for several years. 201 sick children arrived at the Children's ER yesterday. The record pace is being driven by respiratory viruses. Officials say kids are arriving sicker and several have required resuscitation. The number of children from remote and northern First Nations who have had to be medevaced to hospital because of respiratory illnesses has also ballooned. 64 children were flown from their communities for medical care from August to October. That's about double the number for the same period the last 2 years.
Those illnesses tend to go up over the next several months, and we're already at quite a high level. And so I do think there's a lot of cause to be concerned, and I think that should give us all motivation to do the things that we can do to try to slow down the transmission of any respiratory virus.
Now, Dr. Anderson says the only way to stem the tide is by getting vaccinated and wearing masks indoors. God's Lake First Nation is making another plea for help with an addictions crisis. The northeastern Manitoba community says it is reeling from methamphetamine use. 6 First Nations leaders held a news conference this afternoon asking the federal and provincial governments for help.
When people start coming off the meth, they go into severe depression and start having suicide ideations, attempts. We're not guessing at this. We've learned this stuff from the users themselves because we talk to them. They've opened up to us. They're asking for help, but we cannot provide all that help that they need.
God's Lake wants crisis response teams, addictions treatment workers, and more nurses. Former city councillor and mayoral candidate Kevin Klein has secured the Progressive Conservative nomination in Kirkfield Park. A nomination meeting was held for the upcoming by-election this evening. The West Winnipeg seat was left vacant after Scott Fielding left politics to pursue opportunities in the private sector. Now, in addition to Klein, the NDP is fronting Corrections Officer Logan Oxenham. The Manitoba Liberal Party has nominated cancer care research nurse Rhonda Nickel, and the Green Party has put up semi-retired IT professional Dennis Bayami. Provincial law requires that by-election be held by December the 13th. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will face the Toronto Argonauts at the Grey Cup in Regina on Sunday. Now, if the Bombers win, this will be the first time they'll be the first team in the Canadian Football League since the 80s to win 3 consecutive titles in a row. Joanne Roberts has more.
More than 30,000 people were cheering in the stands as the clock ran out, and many fans are confident the Bombers will bring home the 3rd consecutive title for Winnipeg.
I mean, we're poised to win. We are. But, you know, it's not going to be a cakewalk.
This is a dynasty! Repeat in Regina!
This match is over 70 years in the making. The last time the Bombers faced off the Argos was at the Grey Cup, nicknamed the Mud Bowl, in 1950. Ernest and Costa's dad, Paul Chalakis, was one of the Bombers in that season. They don't think Paul played the Mud Bowl, but they've heard stories of the game.
The field conditions were horrid. You know, guys could hardly move. You know, maybe, I don't know if anyone, you know, I'm sure there was a lot of mud, face washes and whatnot.
Even though the Argos have beaten Winnipeg at every Grey Cup, the Chalakises still believe the Bombers can win.
History's in the past. Totally different team. Great coach. He'll have the boys prepared, and I expect a victory.
The final will be in Regina Sunday. Many Winnipeggers will be making the trip, hoping their team makes history. Joanne Roberts, CBC News, Winnipeg.
How's that for an arrival? The Grey Cup arriving at 15-wing Moose Jaw earlier today on board a Snowbirds aircraft. CFL Commissioner Randy Ambrosie was there to greet the trophy. It will now go to Saskatoon, where the Grey Cup Festival will officially begin tomorrow. The trophy will then make its way to Regina on Wednesday ahead of Sunday's match. Looked a bit chilly there. It's a bit chilly here as well this evening. Here's a look outside tonight. We will check in with meteorologist John Sauder after the break with our full forecast. Stay with us.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. 22 model clear-out is on now.
Well, one of the bright spots on our Monday was fairly light winds and some sunshine here in the Red River Valley, at least the northern Red River Valley and the Interlake region. So some brighter sky out there after a very cloudy weekend. Now, the clouds will win this week. This week will be remembered as a pretty cloudy one with some occasional light snow. Not a lot. I think between now and Friday, Winnipeg, for example, might pick up 2 or 3 centimeters of snow. Kenora, maybe 5 centimeters. So it's occasional light snow, and we will see some brighter sky again on Tuesday afternoon. Much of the north, central Manitoba, and anywhere west of the Red River Valley, and I think Winnipeg sees some sunshine in the afternoon as well. Then we're back into the cloud cover on Wednesday and back into some more snow flurries or occasional light snow later in the day on Wednesday. Thursday is the day with some weather. Some wind moving in, and it will be gusty. So tonight we'll have occasional light snow overnight or flurries, and we'll see a few flurries in the morning and then a sun cloud mix in the afternoon. A high of -4, similar to today. And then as we get into the long range, well, it does start to cool off a little bit. Thursday is windy at -7, northwest winds gusting to 60, and then we're into brighter skies by the weekend, but still cooler than seasonal.
Thanks, John. So keep the snow brush and the washer fluid handy. That's your late news for this Monday. Thank you for being with us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.